Hello everyone. This week we're going to speak about Rosh Hashanah in a weekly class of the ZERA SHIMSHON. So we're going to talk this week about the ZERA SHIMSHON in the parashat Emor that talks about the korbanot, the offerings of each holiday during the year. And this week in particularly, we're going to talk about the one of Rosh Hashanah. So the pasuk says, "B'chodesh HaShevi'i, Be'ehad LaChodesh," on the 7th month of the year, the first day of the month, Zichron Teruah and Mikra Kodesh. Zichron Teruah, Zichron is remembering Teruah, the blowing of the shofar, Mikra Kodesh, and holy day. The Midrash says that this pasuk really refers to the three avot, three forefathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. That the pasuk says Be'ehad LaChodesh refers to Avraham, Be'echad, because Avraham was unique. On the first of the month, so Echad means also one, the first one, that Avraham Avinu was Echad Aya Avraham. Avraham was alone against everybody else. Then Yitzchak, Zichron Teruah, the Midrash says, it refers to Yitzchak because, like the pasuk says, Vayisa Avraham et einav vayar ve'hinei ayil, that during the Akedat Yitzchak, Yaakov raised his eyes and then he saw there is the ayil, a ram, and he took the ram and he offered the ram on the altar, on the Mizbeach instead of Yitzchak. And then Mikra Kodesh refers to Yaakov, that Yaakov Avinu was Kadosh. So the ZERA SHIMSHON asks a very interesting question. He says, I don't really understand. We are saying that Zichron Teruah refers to Yitzchak. So first question is, why Zichron Teruah? Why do we call it Zichron? Remembering the Teruah, the blowing. Why Avraham Avinu blew the shofar on the Akedat Yitzchak? Is that we want to remember? No, he has nothing to do. We want to remind Hashem about the Akedah. We don't need to remember it. We remember it very well. We want Hashem, the day of the judgment, that he should remember and think about what Avraham and Yitzchak did for the Akedat Yitzchak, and in order for us to get the mercy and the merit of our ancestors. So, if so, the words should be different. You shouldn't say Zichron Teruah. You should say Teruat Zikaron. We're blowing to remind, not that we remember the blowing. There was no blowing of the shofar during Akedat Yitzchak. No, we're blowing to remind Hashem about Akedat Yitzchak. So it should have been Zikaron Teruah. Teruat Zikaron, not Zichron Teruah. And another question that the ZERA SHIMSHON asks is, what's so special about that Avraham saw a ayil? The Midrash says, the Teruah refers to Yitzchak because, like we see, Avraham Avinu saw a ayil, a ram. What's so special about seeing the ram? Why do we need this ram? This ram that Avraham took and offered on the Mizbeach wasn't the mitzvah, was not the challenge. The whole challenge was for Avraham to take his son and to offer him as a sacrifice. At the end of the day that he took the sacrifice, he took his son off, and Yitzchak off the Mizbeach, and he put the ayil, the ram on the Mizbeach, and he offered the ayil. It's not the mitzvah, that's not what Hashem really wanted, but that wasn't the real challenge. So why the Midrash says, he saw the ram, this refers to Yitzchak? No. The whole thing that we want to remind is not the fact that we took the ram and offered the ram. It's that he was ready to bring Yitzchak as a sacrifice. And the third question that he's asking, the ZERA SHIMSHON, is quoting another Midrash. The Midrash says that when Avraham Avinu took the ram and he did shechita, he slaughtered that ram, and then he put his pieces on top of the Mizbeach and he burned them, and then the Midrash says Avraham Avinu was praying, and everything, every steps that he was taking into offering this ayil, this ram to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he was praying and says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please make it, when I offer this animal, it's as if I'm offering my son. When I take the Emorim, the organs, and I burn them on the Mizbeach, it's as if I'm burning my son's organ on the Mizbeach. And the question is, why Avraham had to pray in this way. He could have prayed even before. He didn't have to wait to take a ram, and then bring it on the Mizbeach and say, Hashem, please, I really wanted to offer my son as a sacrifice. Then, like you asked me, and then you change your mind, make it as if now I'm doing it with this animal. Avraham should have prayed even before the ram came in the picture. He could have said right away when the malach, the angel, told Avraham, please stop right here, don't continue. Avraham should have stopped and says, Hashem, look, I really want to do it. Make it as if I did it. Why we have to say, no, he took a ayil, he took a ram, he put it on the Mizbeach, and everything he did on the animal, it's as if he did on his son, that was his prayer. No, Avraham could have prayed even before. And this is the three questions of the ZERA SHIMSHON. First question, why don't we say teruat zikaron, that we're blowing to remind Hashem, and not the opposite of zichron teruah, that we remember the blowing. Second question is why we are pointing out that Yitzchak, zichron teruah refers to Yitzchak because of the ayil. What do we care about the ayil? All the challenge was before the ayil came. And the third question, why Avraham Avinu is only standing to pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he should consider his action as if he offered Yitzchak himself, only while he's offering the ayil. He could have prayed this way even before. So the ZERA SHIMSHON wants to explain, and he says something beautiful. He says like this, he says that these two parts in mitzvot, when a person does a mitzvah, there is the kavanah, the machshava, and the maaseh. There is the action of the mitzvah, the physically doing, and this is the machshava, the thoughts. What are you thinking about when you're actually doing the mitzvah, the kavanah, all your intentions? And the ZERA SHIMSHON explains that the actual mitzvahs that you do, like we all know, every mitzvah we do creates an advocate. So when a person has a prosecution against him, an angel that prosecutes him, so then by doing a mitzvah, he creates an advocate that will defend him, defend all the persecution against him. So this is the action of a mitzvah, creating an advocate for you. However, the ZERA SHIMSHON tells us that the machshava, the intentions, and the thoughts that you have while you're doing a mitzvah is much more powerful than just creating an advocate for you. But he actually takes the dinim, the judgment, and turns them into mercy. The action of a mitzvah doesn't have the power to turn judgment into mercy, but has the power to protect you from judgment by creating angels that will advocate for you. But when you have a machshava, good intentions and thoughts in a mitzvah, it's even more powerful that with the machshava, you can actually take the dinim and turn them into rachamim, into mercy. However, just the machshava cannot do nothing, because we can only get rewarded for a mitzvah if we actually do it in action. So they both go hand by hand. And the ZERA SHIMSHON continues and explains that when Avraham Avinu went up to do Akedat Yitzchak on the mountain, at the end of the day, when the angel stopped him, it is true that he had all the best intentions, but at the end of the day, he has no actions. And therefore, without the action, we don't know really what was his intentions. And even if we know what was his intentions, at the end of the day, he cannot get rewarded for intentions without having any actions. And this is another problem will be also that he actually designated the wood and the mizbeach to be used. So why everything will be desecrated now that the sacrifice was cancelled? So this is why HaKadosh Baruch Hu prepared in a miracle to Avraham Avinu an animal, a ram, that will replace Yitzchak, and was able with this ram to save all the wood of the mizbeach not to be desecrated. And also, even though Avraham had all the best intentions, he was able to apply and to connect the intentions to an action and to show Hashem that, you see, I had the good intentions and now I'm taking them to action by offering a sacrifice right now in front of you. So before the ayil, before the ram came in the picture, we only have good intentions, and we also have woods that will be desecrated, and we have no merits for the intention since there's no any actions taken. And Hashem gave an ayil to Avraham Avinu in order to fix all these problems, to give an action so we can get rewarded for the intentions, and also to make sure that the wood doesn't get desecrated. And this is what Avraham was so happy about. While he's praying, before the Ayil came, he cannot pray. There's nothing to pray for because at the end of the day, there's no action that he's taking. He only has good intentions. Once he's actually doing the actions, so he's saving the desecrations of the wood, gets the merit of all his good intention, and this is what he's praying about. And he's saying thank you to Hashem, and he's praying to Hashem the same way the wood wasn't desecrated, and the machshava was kept, and the kiddusha, the holiness of the wood and the korban was kept. Also, you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the kiddusha of the Jewish nation will never be desecrated. And this is what we mentioned with zichron teruah, to remember the teruah. What's to remember the teruah? The zikaron is remembering. This is intentions. Teruah is blowing the shofar. It's action. So the mitzvah has an action and a machshava and intention. So we want to remember on Rosh Hashanah that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave a ayil to Avraham in order to give him an action to his machshava, to his good thoughts and good intentions, in order for him to get this merit. And this is what we're trying to remind HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're reminding HaKadosh Baruch Hu the zichron, which is the machshava, and the teruah and the action. And by remembering this, we remember the prayer of Avraham Avinu, that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him that action of the ayil, which refers to the teruah on Rosh Hashanah, he was able to take HaKadosh Baruch Hu from the kisei of din and to bring him into the kisei of Rachamim, because finally the powerful machshava, the powerful thought that he had, were able to give us the merit of the sacrifice of Yitzchak, even though Yitzchak wasn't sacrificed, but the action was taken on the ayil. And this is a beautiful ZERA SHIMSHON that teaching us that when we do the mitzvah of shofar, when we blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah, we have to understand that this blowing of the shofar is actually taking an action on the day of Rosh Hashanah in order to apply all the good machshavot, all the good thoughts of Avraham Avinu, that when Avraham Avinu wanted to bring the Akedat Yitzchak, so we have to think the same machshavot of getting close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, on accepting HaKadosh Baruch Hu as our king, as the master of the universe, that is controlling everything at every moment of our life. And this machshavot will be applied into an action, and then, like the pasuk says, Allah Elohim b'truah Adonai b'kol shofar, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu judges us on Rosh Hashanah, sitting on the throne of din, of judgment. But once he hears the shofar blowing, Hashem stands up from the throne of judgment and sits then on the thrones of Rachamim, of mercy. So you see that the shofar, the mitzvah of the shofar, has the power to take the machshava and to bring the merit of the machshava to turn the dinim into Rachamim. And all this because we have the maaseh, the mitzvot of Rosh Hashanah. So we should be very careful, Be'ezrat Hashem, when you come to shul tomorrow, to listen very carefully to the shofar and to think when you listen to the shofar, to get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to be willing to give yourself and give your life to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to succeed, to get close to Him, and to, Be'ezrat Hashem, fulfill His will and get close to Him. And like this will bring all together very soon. Mashiach tzidkenu b'mehera b'yameinu amen. I wish everyone a Shana Tova u'mvorechet, a beautiful and good year full of happiness. HaKadosh Baruch Hu shall listen and answer all the tefillot of Am Yisrael, of every single one tefillah, of every single one Jew, everything that we need Hashem shall give us, and all the people that are seeking refuah shall get health, and Be'ezrat Hashem, everyone that needs a shidduch shall find a zivug bekarov, Be'ezrat Hashem. Shana Tova u'metuka.